Whispers in the wilderness. A legacy reclaimed. The storm raged like a beast unleashed, rain slashing through the night. Thunder rumbled, shaking the earth as a sleek black car tore down a forest road. Inside, Edward Grayson gripped the wheel, his jaw tight, eyes cold as steel. In the back seat, 4-year-old Liam huddled, frail and shivering, clutching a worn blanket. His small legs, twisted from birth, dangled uselessly, his blue eyes wide with fear. "Daddy, where are we?" Liam's voice quivered, barely audible over the wind. Edward didn't answer, his gaze fixed ahead, hands steady despite the chaos. The car screeched to a halt at the forest's edge, mud splattering the polished frame. Edward stepped out, his tailored coat soaked instantly, his face a mask of resolve. He yanked open the back door, the wind howling as he stared down at his son. "Get out!" he barked, his voice cutting through the storm like a blade. Liam whimpered, clutching the seat. "Daddy, it's cold. I'm scared." Edward's expression didn't soften. He reached in, pulling Liam out by his thin arm. The boy stumbled, his bare feet sinking into the icy mud, his blanket falling behind. "Daddy, please!" Liam cried, his small hand grasping at Edward's sleeve. Edward jerked away, his eyes hard. "Stay here. Don't follow." Liam's sobs grew desperate. "I'll be good, Daddy. I promise." "Stop calling me that," Edward snapped, turning toward the car. Liam lunged forward, tiny hands banging on the door. "Don't leave me." Edward slid into the driver's seat, the engine roaring to life. The car lurched forward, tires spinning, flinging mud onto Liam's trembling form. He fell, sprawling in the dirt, watching as the taillights vanished into the dark. "Daddy," he whispered, tears mixing with rain, his voice lost to the storm. The forest swallowed him, its shadows deep, its silence suffocating. Liam curled into a ball, shivering, waiting for a father who wouldn't return. Hours passed, the rain unrelenting, soaking his thin clothes to his skin. He dragged himself under a tree, its branches offering scant shelter. The wind howled like a living thing, clawing at him, chilling his bones. "Why, Daddy?" he mumbled, his voice weak, his mind unable to grasp the betrayal. Was it because he couldn't walk right? Because he wasn't perfect? Liam hugged himself, his small hands numb, his stomach aching with hunger. He drifted in and out of sleep, jolted awake by every rustle, every snap. The forest was alive. Shadows moved, eyes glinted in the dark. A low growl rumbled nearby, and Liam froze, his breath hitching. A fox darted past, its amber eyes flashing, then vanishing into the night. Liam's heart pounded, but he didn't cry. He was too cold, too tired. Morning crept in, gray and bleak, the rain easing to a drizzle. Liam stirred, his body stiff, his feet bruised and bleeding. He crawled forward, searching for food, for anything to ease the gnawing hunger. A cluster of dark berries hung from a bush. He hesitated, then reached out. The taste was bitter, sharp, but it dulled the ache, if only for a moment. He ate a handful, then stopped, fear whispering they might be poison. Exhaustion pulled at him, but he couldn't stay still. He'd die if he did. Stumbling through the trees, he heard a faint clatter in the distance. Hooves on stone. A cart approached, its wooden wheels creaking. A woman, weathered and wiry, pulled the reins, her gray eyes sharp under a hood. Maeve, a scavenger who roamed the wilds, traded secrets and scraps for survival. She squinted at the muddy, limping boy. "What's a child doing out here?" Liam lifted his head, his voice a rasp. I don't know." Maeve dismounted, crouching beside him, her frown deepening. "Look at you, half dead," she muttered. noting his twisted legs, his hollow cheeks. "Who left you?" she asked, her tone gruff but tinged with something softer. Liam shook his head, too weak to answer, his eyes pleading silently. Maeve sighed, patting his shoulder. "Come on, then. Can't leave you to the wolves." She lifted him into the cart, his small body limp against the rough wood. Liam didn't resist. Hunger and cold had stripped him of fight. Maeve drove on, the cart rattling toward Thornvale, a gritty village nearby. She set him by a fire in her shack, handing him a crust of bread and water. "Name?" she asked, her voice blunt as she stoked the flames. "Liam," he whispered, clutching the bread, too wary to eat yet. "Eat, boy," Maeve urged, her eyes softening. "You're safe here." Liam took a bite, the dry bread a lifeline, though trust eluded him. "No home?" Maeve pressed, watching him with a scavenger's curiosity. "No," Liam murmured, the word heavy, final. Maeve grunted. "Well, you've got one now, if you earn it." Liam didn't understand her fully, but the warmth felt like a promise. Days turned to weeks, Liam learning Maeve's ways, sorting junk, bartering scraps. She wasn't kind, not in the gentle sense, but she fed him, sheltered him. He thought he'd escaped the dark, but Maeve had her own shadows. She wasn't a savior. She was a hustler, and Liam was useful, small, quiet. "Take this to the square," she'd say, tossing him a sack. "Beg if you have to." Liam obeyed, limping through Thornvale's muddy streets, eyes downcast. People pitied him, his crooked legs, his thin frame, tossing coins or crusts. He hated it, the stares, the sneers, but hunger left no room for pride. One day, a burly man grabbed him. "Stealing, cripple?" he snarled, mistaking him. "No!" Liam protested, struggling, but the man's grip tightened. "Trash like you belongs in the gutter," the man spat, shoving him down. Kids laughed, pelting him with pebbles, their taunts cutting deeper than stones. "Freak!" they jeered. "Go crawl back to your hole!" Liam curled up, shielding his face, anger simmering beneath the shame. He didn't cry. He wouldn't give them that. But a seed of hate took root. Back at Maeve's, she smirked at his bruises. "Toughen up, boy. That's life." Liam stayed silent, his eyes darkening, resolve hardening within him. He wasn't her tool, not forever. He'd find a way out, a way up. High above Thornvale, Edward Grayson's mansion gleamed, a fortress of wealth. Marble floors, chandeliers, a view of the city. Power carved in every detail. But Edward slept poorly, the storm of that night echoing in his dreams. He sat in his study, whiskey in hand, staring at the fire's dying embers. Liam was gone, erased, he told himself. A flaw he'd scrubbed from his legacy. A crippled son couldn't inherit, couldn't uphold the Grayson name. He'd done right, he insisted, but the boy's pleas haunted him. "Daddy, don't leave me," the voice whispered, a ghost in his mind. He shook it off, pouring another drink, but the unease clung like damp air. One night, rain drumming the windows, he felt a chill, a presence. He turned, but the room was empty, shadows dancing in the flickering light. In the mirror, a flicker, a small, soaked figure, eyes wide and accusing. Edward blinked, and it was gone, his own haggard face staring back. "Madness," he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. But sleep evaded him. Years passed, Liam no longer the fragile child left to die. At 18, he was lean, hardened, his limp a badge of survival, not weakness. Maeve had taught him cunning, how to read people, how to take without being seen. But he wasn't her pawn anymore. He'd learned to steal for himself, to plan. "Liam, big job," Maeve said one night, tossing him a map. "Rich man safe." Edward Grayson's name glared from the page, and Liam's blood ran cold. His father, the man who'd abandoned him, alive, thriving, untouchable. "I'll do it," Liam said, voice steady, hiding the storm within. He moved like a shadow that night, scaling walls, slipping past guards. The safe clicked open, revealing ledgers, proof of Edward's corruption. Tax fraud, bribes, secrets worth millions. Liam took them all. A thief with a purpose. Maeve grinned at the hall. "Good work, boy. What's your cut?" "I don't want money," Liam said, eyes burning. "I want him." Maeve paused, then nodded. "Revenge, huh? Dangerous game." "He's my father," Liam confessed, voice low, and Maeve's smirk faded. "Take him down then," she said, "but don't expect it to fix you." Liam didn't reply. He knew peace wasn't the goal. Justice was. Rain fell again, a familiar drumbeat, as Liam watched Edward's mansion from afar. He held a photo, himself at 4, smiling before the forest stole his innocence. The time had come. Edward would face the son he'd thrown away. Next morning, Edward found a note on his desk, slipped past all security. A child's drawing, him and Liam, scribbled over with red. "You left me." His hands shook, his voice hoarse as he called his guard, Victor. "Check everything. Who got in?" Edward demanded, panic rising. Victor scoured the cameras. Nothing. No trace. Just an impossible breach. Liam watched from a distance, a ghost in the city's underbelly. He struck again. Warehouses burned, accounts drained, Edward's empire crumbling. Each hit left a mark, a red L painted in the ashes, a signature of wrath. Edward's nights grew sleepless, his reflection a stranger, old, broken. "Henry, he's alive," he whispered to his guard, voice trembling. "Liam." Victor frowned. "The boy? Impossible. He'd be dead." "He's not," Edward rasped, clutching a glass. "He's coming for me." One night, the phone rang. No number, just a voice, deep and chilling. "Father," it said, and Edward dropped the receiver, heart racing. "Who are you?" he croaked, but the line hummed with silence. "You know," the voice replied, "I survived. You didn't." Edward staggered to the window, peering into the rain. A figure stood below. Faceless, still, watching, then gone, leaving him gasping in the dark. Liam didn't rush. He dismantled Edward's world piece by piece. Factories fell, allies turned, the Grayson name became a curse. Edward locked himself in his study, a gun by his side, shadows closing in, a creak on the stairs. He grabbed the weapon, shouting, "Show yourself!" The door swung open, and Liam stepped in. Tall, unyielding, eyes like ice. "Liam," Edward breathed, the gun trembling in his hand. "Father," Liam said, voice soft but lethal, stepping closer. I had no choice," Edward stammered. "You were a burden." Liam's lips twitched, a bitter smile. "You made me one." "Please, I'll fix it. Money, anything," Edward begged, desperation raw. "You can't fix this," Liam said, stopping inches away. "You lost that chance." Edward raised the gun, but his hand shook, useless against the son he'd made. "I don't want you dead," Liam continued, calm, cold. "I want you to live." Edward blinked, confused. "Live? Live with nothing," Liam said, "like I did, alone, afraid, abandoned." He turned, leaving Edward crumpled, the gun clattering to the floor. The mansion stood, but its king was dethroned, a shell in his own ruin. Liam walked into the night, rain washing over him, but he wasn't done. In an alley, a cry stopped him. A girl, small, bruised, begging for help. "Please," she whispered, reaching out, her eyes mirrors of his own past. Liam froze, the echo of his own pleas ringing in his ears. Who did this? He asked, crouching, his voice low but steady. Men. They hurt me, she sobbed, trembling in the cold. Liam lifted her gently, wrapping his coat around her. You're safe now. He took her to a shelter, a place he'd found in his wanderings. Miss Clara, a warm-eyed woman, opened the door. Liam, who's this? She needs help, he said simply, setting the girl down. Clara smiled at the child. Come in, dear. We'll take care of you. The girl clung to Liam's hand. Thank you. What's your name? Liam, he said, voice soft, meeting her gaze. She nodded, tears easing. I won't forget you. As the door closed, Liam lingered, the rain a quiet companion. He'd saved her, something no one had done for him, and it shifted something inside. Back in the city, Edward withered, his empire ash, his name scorned. Liam faced Maeve one last time, her smirk gone, her eyes wary. You're leaving me behind, she said, voice flat. You made me a tool, Liam replied. I'm more than that now. Maeve shrugged. Go then. But you'll always carry the dark. Maybe, Liam said, turning away. But I'll carry light too. He stepped into the dawn, the sky clearing, a new path unfolding. In a quiet moment, he called Clara. How's the girl? She's healing, Clara said. Asking about you. Liam paused, then smiled faintly. Tell her I'll visit. The boy abandoned in the forest had become a man who chose redemption. His story didn't end in blood, but in a flicker of hope, a chance reclaimed. If you like this story, please give it a like. Subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps us sharing tales like this. We're so grateful. See you soon.